Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about hacking and let's start with the definition.
Hacking it's a kind of art when you try to break the program. There are several levels of computer users. The lowest one is a user. It's person which could just turn on computer, laptop, or something else like printer or Xerox. On second level could be named as lemmer. Lemmer, this is a person who could maybe install some programs and maybe knowing some tricks like how to use templates and something else. On the third level, there would be like a cracker. That's a person who could break program protection, but on the local computer, not on the network. And a hacker is the highest level or almost highest level. First, there's a person who could create a program without knowing a language of programming, for example, how with chopping other programs to make from them like a mashed potatoes. And the last or lastest level is a guru. Guru is a person who could know everything how to make, but maybe not with hands, but how to navigate other people. By the way, hacker, it was a name for butchers. Is it correct to say butcher for мясник?
That's correct, butcher.
Butchers who was trading by the meat on the markets. It was a time when women come to this butcher and they were asking, could you please chop us a piece of veal or piece of other kind of meat, but also please cut in half any bones, any huge bones to make it's easy to boil or to prepare food. And so this person, this butcher, should with sharp axe to cut the bone in halves and without any, how to say, осколков, small fragments.
Parts, yeah.
Without small parts, which would, for example, harm someone's neck or hands during cooking.
So when the hacker is approaching the system or like any different like a software, what kind of objects they might be having to how to say like to attack or misuse or bypass?
Let's assume that there are several kind of hackers, and they wear different colors of hats. It's come from Western movies. In old Western, there were heroes who were in a white cap, and it indicated that they are good fellows. And who was in the middle, they were wearing gray hats and black hats. It was like негодяй, how to say, evil person. Persons.
Well, bad man is good.
Bad man. Okay. So the same with modern situation. If you are a hacker which are asked by a company to test protection system, this would be a white one. So I was always wearing a white hat. I have a document which was asking me to make something in behalf of the company who was made this protection. For example, I was working for Intel, for Motorola, for IT, and some other huge companies. If you are a black hacker, you will be paid to break through firewalls, DNS, or some other systems to steal information and or to make maybe some delete job and so on. For example, if you want to hack Gmail, it would cost like $10,000 US. If you want to hack something like a huge corporation, it could start from 2 million.
And usually, like when the hacker is approaching to certain problem, like when they need to look into something, obviously there was a skill that recently was lectured in the School of Troubleshooters, the hacker's mindset. What kind of like a principles or the way of thinking or the framework they might be having in their heads, just like in a broad level?
There are several principles, and thank you for asking. First is everything what is built by one man could be destroyed or corrupted or hacked by other men. Second, programmers are not smart, and if any woodpecker would come to our civilization, in case that all buildings were built by programmers, it would destroy all civilization with several hooks. And third, if you think about system, you should test all regimes if it is allowed or not.
And usually like during the process of like hacking or like going to unknown territory, what might be the stages of it, continue starting from the like acknowledgement of like the system or like looking around, and from the part when you're actually leaving, and maybe like if you can imagine the movie, like you're leaving something, you don't want the something to blow, but you really want to get it like quietly, depending on the purpose, of course.
First, never use your gadgets, never use your SIM card, never start to work with your territory. Always, when I need to do some job, I'm going to Europe and I work from some petroleum station and some resorts, but never on the same way where I'm sleeping on, and I'm always in the move. If you will stay, for example, for 12 hours on the same place with open notebook, with open gadgets, you will be captured. So you should use like, I don't know, like 2 notebooks per day, and then throw them away, completely away. And the same with smartphones, satellite phones, and so on. Yes, it's a pity, but all my friends who were using them like twice or triple, they all were catched, and now they sit in the jail. It's a pity, but it's a price for you if you are greedy. Second, when you work with some system, you should know that there could be like a honeypot. There's a special trap who built to catch a hacker, and if you work there for a long, you will your legs would be like in a honey, and you like a flea couldn't fly away, and you will be captured because you will so interested in breaking through that you will lose the moment of time. And third, when you work with some system, you should understand the entropy of the system. If the system will allow you go through, maybe this means that you are logged in and you monitor it well. So if the system is very soft, you should run away and use maybe another entry of the same system.
Obviously, hackers might be having a tool set or maybe something that they just might come up with if they're familiar with the coding, or as you're saying, like using the stick and rope, you just can like literally make anything. But like in terms of the categories of such a software or like any other type of wares, what kind of stuff they might be having in order to achieve the final reason, the final target?
The first set of tools, it should be like penetration testing. For example, Internet Security Scanner, ESS, it's very easy to buy and not expensive one. And if you will start to use this, no one would think that you are a hacker. You will find, is there any missing update on the system? Maybe an old version of kernel or some missed libraries and so on. Second, you should use as many try as possible in a small period of time to try to force the system go to the reboot mode. So it's so-called denial of service. If you could create denial of service, maybe system will go in some different mode, and while something will be loaded like protection, maybe you will be already deep inside. And third, you should understand how to deal with exact database, with exact interface or IP. So you should be well aware what is after the bridge, after the gates.
There is one interesting phrase that you said, and it's actually, I remember it quite well. Like at the moment you want to get fight, you will fall down from the level of your expectation to the level of your preparations. So obviously, like some of the systems, you might be having some sort of like a sandbox to do all of the training. If you kind of more or less know like what exactly you're gonna deal with. Again, like at the skill of the hacker's mindset, you mentioned that there were like ATM stations that would be bought on eBay or Amazon or whatever, so that all of the like malicious men, they would actually practice and learn like how exactly it works. So the moment they need to do the bad things, they just come there and execute it instead of like doing all of the things. So what should be the approach to creating or like a maintaining or even like getting those sandboxes for someone who wants to bypass the wall?
First, you should find much easier targets. For example, I want to destroy your system, Maxim Golub Corporation or Foundation, and it is huge, and I know that you occupied a whole skyscraper, and maybe you are tough to crack down. So I will find another systems, maybe in another state even, maybe they work in other language, but with the same version of software already installed. Then I will check something, and I will make like preparation, like rehearsal. You know, when you work as a hacker, you should understand that you work, for example, from our territories in language which is different from yours native. So if I'm working with Russian language, I use it like for 90% of the day. But if I will hack something, I will be forced to use English, and it would be a bit slower. So I should repeat all the commands. So I will prepare like 3 weeks, just type very command in a very fast way. And also I will prepare macros, which will help me also to type something very fast. Because when I will enter through the gates or through the demilitarization zone, I would be greeted and meted by a squad of people who are waiting for me. You know, no one knows, but if you work, for example, against telco or huge financial corporation, they used to get like 500 hackers attack per second. So they are good enough. They have huge rooms installed, equipped with huge monitors, and they could understand how you ping them, trace route, and make other commands. So you also need to have a lot channels. For example, sometimes I use like 200 satellite phones, and I switch between them, but not with fingers, but with special commutators, with special equipment to use any 30 seconds, just one channel, but not longer.
And let's say like we're already in the system, and obviously, you know, like it might not be like a one-time hack, but our target lies like maybe behind of the list of the or behind of the number of unknown nodes. So what should be the maybe like the behavior or the way of approaching when you're trying to go through the system like in incremental steps, like maybe increasing your privileges or maybe even disguising yourself as a different actor. So how exactly hackers should act in this way?
If you will spend in the system more than 30 seconds, you will be noticed, and it will lead you to the closing of some ports and some other stuff. There are a lot of different artillery systems that will not allow you to go deeper. So yes, in the films, in the movies, you could find that sometimes people go from one stage to another, from one router to another router. No, in real life, it wouldn't work the same way. If you will break through 3 routers, all other would be completely blocked from you. And you know, sometimes systems would be switched out of internet. So if system wouldn't know what to do, and you are a new actor, and there is not to be expected a new actor at this time, that you will be blocked. And you know what problem? All companies which has a huge telecommunicational channels, they cooperate with Interpol, International Police, and you will be captured in a very fast way. I was in Iran, in several countries, after small steps, while trying to break through the system. So you should do it at once. You have no other channels, you have no other timing, you have no other time slots.
And while it's also might be like seems to be romantic to do all of the kind of stuff, obviously, you know, like everything comes with the consequences. So as far as I know, usually when they do this, they have like a red and blue team. So red teams, maybe probably one of the criteria is also will be ability to leave tracks or like a left unseen from the scene. So what might be the approaches of doing this? Like, for example, you mentioned that you should not be really get attached to devices. You should use, I think they call it burners, like the phone that you just gonna use once. But like in terms of the like the way of thinking, probably you should think that everything should be traceable. So at least like you should find something which has like a lower coefficients of or probabilities to be traced, or like be you know, like be able to send it to a wrong way.
I know how to say it, but maybe you'll help me. How to say маскироваться?
Put a masquerade, put a mask on.
You should put a mask on. Usually, I work as North Korean hackers, Chinese hackers, or even African hackers. For example, when I was working in Africa, I bought a lot of Sagem. It's a very old-fashioned smartphone. Sorry, it even not smartphone, just phone, and it was working with edge channels. It's very slow, but no one would follow you through the Kenya or through Algeria or some other countries. Again, in Morocco, in Egypt, you would be coached. But if you will go, for example, in the heart of Africa, even virtually, you will not be coached, because if someone wants to fly there, it will take a lot of time. Or if the police will be reached by Interpol, they also will not act smoothly, and you will have like 72 hours.
Well, choose the locations or maybe the regions where the police or like any other services will hesitate to just like proceed with whatever actions they need to do. My last question will be how knowing about hacking could help to make this world a better place.
I'm not agitate someone to become a hacker. This is a dangerous job, and better if you will work under the state wing. But even in this case, you are not safe. You will be not allowed to some territories, because if you work against someone, for example, Chinese will always find you. Americans also will find you, and so some other countries the same. So you should think for several times, but you should be aware about this kind of threat. Maybe you are quite lawful person, and maybe you do not break the law, but maybe you have some sensitive information in your computer which could be stolen. Some hackers work not just alone, but with help with other guys. For example, you will sit somewhere in the restaurant or cafe, and you will lose from your vision your laptop for 20 minutes, but it could be stolen, it could be copied, and will be brought to you back. You will find that everything is okay, but your data already in a dirty hands.
А мы рассмотрели навык хакинг и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира!